Tonight, serial killer Robert Pickton is in critical condition after an assault over the weekend.
Things seem more or less stable now on the river itself.
Threats of flooding in the northernmost First Nation in Yukon. And the annual Manito Ahbee Festival wraps up another year. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. We begin in Winnipeg, where the trial of a non-Indigenous man who has admitted to killing 4 Indigenous women continues this week. It is a case about not criminally responsible due to mental illness, like the defense claims, or an intentional racial crime. That's what the judge will have to decide. Today, a crime analyst from the Winnipeg Police Service was on the stand. TR Wheatley reports, and please be aware that there are some details that you may find disturbing.
Those inside the courtroom were told that on May 16, 2022, a day after the partial remains of Rebecca Contois were found in garbage bins behind his apartment, Jeremy Skibicki got onto his computer and searched for an article on a local media website relating to the discovery. He told court that Engine's search about remains found is just one of over 500,000 artifacts that WPS examined on Skibicki's computer tower from the beginning of 2022 until his arrest on May 18, 2022. Johansson testified amongst the data included searches relating to garbage day pickups, missing persons, bus schedules to homeless shelters, DNA, and fingerprints. He also provided a timeline of Skibicki's computer usage relating to all 4 women, giving a highlight of some of the more notable searches Skibicki made from early March until his arrest. It's believed Buffalo woman was the first victim sometime in early March 2022. The only DNA found of hers is on the cuff of the arm of a baby fat jacket. Johansson told court on March 15 about a search Skibicki did, quote, "How long can Winnipeg police keep your DNA?" That same day, Johansson told court that Skibicki searched for a bus route to a nearby Staples store to look for shipping package material. 2 days later, on March 17, he searched something similar, quote, "Does washing clothes remove DNA?" as well as a search for, quote, "explosive anger disorder." Court also heard that on March 20, Skibicki searched how long do places usually keep their security footage. During his interrogation, Skibicki told police he may have been on camera with his first victim at a homeless shelter. Skibicki's next victim was Morgan Harris. Johansson testified that on May 1st, he searched, quote, "How long does it take for hot water to come back?" He told court this stood out in the search engine results because in Skibicki's interrogation, he talked about drowning Harris. Court heard for the next week that followed. Skibicki had numerous waste management searches. He also spent some time searching the Bear Clan page for missing persons. This is also the same time frame Mercedes Myron was killed. Police have said they believe she died on May 4th. On May 5th, Johansson testified that Skibicki searched for the, quote, "definition of a serial killer," and on May 14, Skibicki searched for, "Do Muslims behead people with knives?" On May 16, the same day of the discovery of Contois' remains, Skibicki had searched, quote, "Do fingerprints only get on smooth surfaces?" and "How long can police keep fingerprints?" Johansson testified that he also examined Skibicki's Facebook usage. Among the more notable data, Skibicki searched for the Bear Clan Patrol page for missing persons more than 80 times on his Facebook account. Johansson said that he also examined Facebook conversations between Skibicki and his ex-wife, some of which talking about heartbreak from his marriage breakdown. Last week, his ex-wife testified about some of those conversations, including Skibicki telling her he may go away for 3 life sentences. The Crown is expected to call one more witness this week to help them prove that the killings were intentional and racially motivated. Defense claims that Skibicki is not criminally responsible on account of mental disorder. The trial is expected to last until June 6. TR Wheatley, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Thanks, TR. For more on the trial, you can head over to our website, aptnnews.ca, for stories by our web reporter, Kathleen Martins. And if you're triggered by this report, supports are available 24/7 through the MMIWG2S support line. That number is 1-844-413-6649. Hometown heroes. That's what some people are calling the owners of a gas station in Cranberry Portage, 7 hours northwest of Winnipeg. Amidst a wildfire evacuation last week where flames came within a kilometer from the town. The owners of M&B's gas bar stayed behind to feed those fighting to save their community.
Well, yeah, they needed a lot of energy, so nothing like a warm meal at the end of the day.
Melissa Lundy says she dug deep to make sure firefighters and crew on the ground got to enjoy free home-cooked meals like moose hamburger soup and roast beef. As the 37,000-hectare wildfire raged on over the week, Lundy and her husband Blair say other nearby gas stations lost power, but their generator kept them afloat. They were the only place up and running within a half-hour drive. The Lundys say it wasn't a hard choice to stay behind while the rest of the town was evacuated.
Because the power was out from Cranberry Portage all the way to the Finfon. And so I just knew that there was no resources in place yet to provide food and meals and water and, just the basic things that they need to go and work the fire.
Great work by the Lundys there. Well, the northernmost First Nation in the Yukon has issued an emergency declaration on Friday evening due to concerns about flooding. Old Crow is home to the Vundet Gwitchin First Nation, about 800 kilometers north of Whitehorse. The community has been on flood watch since Friday because of ice jams in the Porcupine River during seasonal breakup. Water levels at Old Crow have been dropping since Sunday, although a rainy weather forecast could lead to more peaks. However, none are expected to top Sunday's levels. Response teams are now assessing how water melting from the mountains could impact water levels around the community. The First Nation says so far, no one has had to evacuate.
Things seem more or less stable now on the river itself, but there is meltwater that is draining down from the mountain and creating some issues we need to resolve around specifically the sewage lagoon that receives all of the liquid waste in Old Crow and a road that provides access to both the lagoon and the dump. So we're putting a lot of our effort into making sure that the sewage lagoon and the dump remain operational and that those services can be provided to the community.
The First Nations emergency declaration will remain in effect for 90 days unless terminated or extended by council. A recent report by the Auditor General of Canada found that Public Safety Canada has not worked in collaboration with Indigenous communities to ensure fair policing is adapted to their needs. Kijite Alexandra Viet-Chizo met with the Abenaki Police Force to find out what it means to them.
J'aime vraiment ça. C'est vraiment un beau métier, là, puis j'ai la chance de pouvoir travailler chez moi, ce qui n'est pas donné à tout le monde, là.
Etienne Prudhomme has been a police officer for 3 years with the Abenaki Police Force in Odanak, his home community.
Je trouve que ça me donne un certain avantage sur, par exemple, certains collègues qui viennent pas d'ici, où ce que je connais les gens, puis que c'est plus facile d'approche lorsque je connais leur nom, puis qu'ils connaissent le mien aussi.
Ils n'ont pas besoin de passer à travers le poste au complet, là.
Eric Cloutier is the Abenaki Police Forces Director. He has worked for more than 26 years to maintain and develop the service.
Ben, la motivation première, c'est d'aider leur population, de les mettre en sécurité. Puis la deuxième, c'est de voir qu'on est une organisation qui est quand même très proactive. Donc, on met beaucoup de l'avant, puis on essaie de trouver des solutions pour améliorer justement les conditions de travail de tous les policiers. Puis de trouver des façons innovantes d'aider la population malgré qu'on est sous-financé.
That task is important to him, but holds many challenges.
Ben, ça me prend, exemple, un minimum de 12 policiers. Ben, si mon budget qui m'est donné ne m'en permet que pour en payer 6, j'ai un problème.
Pierre Simard is the General Manager of Quebec Association of First Nation and Inuit Police Directors, and he has some key needs.
La priorité ultime, c'est la reconnaissance des corps de police autochtones au Québec comme étant un service essentiel. Présentement, selon la loi au Québec, un corps de police autochtone n'est même pas considéré comme une police officielle, elle est considérée comme une agence de sécurité au sens de la loi.
The findings in our last audit report on the First Nations and Inuit policing program are equally concerning.
This March, Auditor General of Canada, Karen Hogan, tabled her report on the First Nations and Inuit policing program. It denounced Public Safety Canada for not working in partnership with Indigenous communities.
This leaves First Nations and Inuit communities without the level of proactive and community-focused policing services that they should receive.
Mélanie Joannis is the director of the Office of the Auditor General. She says the report recommends a renewed approach.
C'est vraiment important de partir de la base. Quelle est la demande, quel est le besoin, et de s'assurer d'avoir une façon de le financer qui est équitable et qui peut permettre de débourser les fonds en temps important.
Following the Auditor General's audit, Public Safety Canada accepted the report's recommendations.
Ben, le but de faire une patrouille, c'est le devoir d'un policier, c'est de prévenir et réprimander le crime, mais c'est de nous montrer.
In addition, the Abenaki Police Force serves 2 communities.
Ce serait important d'avoir les effectifs nécessaires pour être doublés en tout temps.
Odanak, where the police station is located, as well as Wolinak.
Souvent de nuit, on va être seul. Parce que ça peut être dangereux, là, même si on se dit que Odanak et Wilnac, c'est des petites communautés, c'est tranquille. Mais non, il peut arriver n'importe quoi. On a la 132 qui passe à Odanak. Il y a un casino à Wilnac.
40 kilometers separate the 2 communities.
Quand on est sur la route entre Odanak et Wilnac, les ondes radio ils coupent, vu que ça ne se rend pas au centre. Donc, une meilleure onde radio, ça pourrait nous aider beaucoup aussi. Bon, on n'a pas de bureau là-bas. Lorsqu'il se passe des choses, on fait ça dans le véhicule. Où il faut s'en venir jusqu'à Odanak pour pouvoir terminer notre situation.
Véronique Brunet is the spokesperson for the École nationale de police du Québec. She notes it is difficult to fill the classroom allocated to Indigenous trainees. So, as a solution, the school has begun to add non-Indigenous recruits.
Il y a certainement un gain d'échange culturel, de sensibilisation, de rencontres vers l'autre à faire en intégrant des non-autochtones dans une cohorte composé aussi de candidats autochtones.
However, Cloutier mentioned that continuing education is more difficult to access for Indigenous communities.
Souvent, nous, on va avoir l'information de l'école, mais une place qui s'est libérée pour enquête, par exemple. Mais OK, on applique, on donne notre nom. Ah, trop tard, la place est comblée. C'est toujours comme ça, donc on s'amasse, c'est très difficile d'aller se faire former en formation continue.
Je vais sortir du poste, je vais passer par la 132, remonter Wabanaki jusqu'au bout, près de Notre-Dame-de-Pierreville.
Meanwhile, for Prudhomme, contributing to his community's well-being is what pushes him to overcome various obstacles.
J'ai été cuisinier avant. C'est un travail j'étais très satisfait, j'avais beaucoup de plaisir, mais là, je termine ma journée, je rentre chez moi, puis je me dis que j'ai fait des petites différences dans la vie de certaines personnes, puis que ces différences-là, c'est important.
Kijate Alexandra Veillet-Chizo, APTN National News, Odanak.
Coming up, the 19th annual Manito Ahbee Festival wrapped up on Monday. We'll bring you some of the highlights. Stick around. Welcome back. Up to 15,000 people were in attendance at this year's Manito Festival in Winnipeg, with visitors from all over Canada, the United States, and some from Australia. On Sunday, Manitoba Premier Rob Canoe hosted a chicken dance special. He says in First Nations culture, when success comes your way, you should share it with the community. Here are some sights and sounds from the event.
Powwow specials are done when something good happens to you. Maybe you're the head dancer at a powwow, or some sort of milestone in your life. And so for our family to go through the election last year and to have the great honor of serving the people of Manitoba as a premier just seemed like an important time to give back. It was tons of fun. Chicken dance is like a high energy, exciting style. You saw some battling going on out there between the dancers. I grew up dancing powwow and singing, and then I'd say I got back into it maybe about 7 years ago or something like that. So it's just what we do for fun,
When I see the young kids dancing out there on the dance floor, singing on our stages, it's a reminder of why we have to keep this way of life going and going and going.
I'm really excited to be here because when I just moved to Canada and when I started my journey through learning all this Indigenous culture, Native culture, and obviously my first powwow, I always had a comment: you must visit Winnipeg, you must visit Manito, Ahbee. I didn't know it's called Manito, Ahbee. I always said Winnipeg powwow, and I know that it's a large community here.
Yeah, it was a super memorable experience, and then we had a mix of like some of the OG chicken dancers, you could say, and then some of the young guns, and then some of the guys who are just really well known. So over the 4 years, we hope to be able to do 2 years of men's categories, 2 years of women's categories, and then just have the opportunity to give thanks in a way that makes sense for the powwow trail.
Good stuff. My mom and I got to take in some of Saturday's events. I wish we got in there a couple more times, but great weekend indeed. Still to come, a preview of tonight's face-to-face with the Canadian Screen Award nominee. Stick around. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. With spring brings freshwater streams, and here we see Pepper enjoying a frolic near Toulon, Manitoba. Thanks to Cheryl McKenzie for sharing this photo. If you want to be our next photo of the day, you can send your pictures to share@aptn.ca. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, 28 in Halifax, showers, and 27 in Fredericton. 6 and cloudy in Kuujjuaq, snow and 1 above in Nain. 30 above for Montreal, showers and 28 in Val-d'Or. 17 with rain in Sault Ste. Marie, 25 with rain in North Bay. Showers and 15 in Thunder Bay, 8 in Sioux Lookout. 5 for God's Lake, 7 with rain in Norway House. 16 above with showers in Winnipeg, 9 and rain in Dauphin. 15 in Regina, showers and 10 in Saskatoon. 8 in Meadow Lake, 7 for La Ronge. In northern Alberta, 19 in High Level, 13 for Fort Chipewyan. 12 with showers in Edmonton and Lethbridge. 15 and rain for Vancouver and Victoria. 17 and showers in Prince George, sun's out, and 20 in Smithers. 14 in Old Crow, 14 with showers for Whitehorse. A sunny high of 17 for Yellowknife, 20 in Norman Wells. 4 above and cloudy for Sax Harbor, showers and 4 in Paulatuck. 0 with snow in Chesterfield, 3 in Whale Cove. -1 with snow in Resolute, +1 in Joe Haven. Popular waterfront on the shores of Lake Ontario got spruced up last week as 2 Alderville First Nation artists showcased their work on Cobourg's Victoria Beach, located an hour and a half east of Toronto. Annette Francis was at the recent unveiling.
26 banners adorn the lampposts on the waterfront from the Cobourg Marina to the east side of the boardwalk. Anishinaabe artists Corinne Smoke and Rick Beaver joined in a quick kickoff of what is being called the Wisdom Pathway before joining the crowd of supporters to share stories of their work. Smoke's work focuses on the 7 grandfather teachings.
Eagle shows us love is the bird that flies.
The vibrant display is a result of a collaborative effort 1 year in the making. Smoke says she's honored to have her work here in Cobourg.
Well, I went to high school here, and I didn't see as much representation when I was growing up here. So I feel like the artworks are definitely inclusive and identifiable, especially to those Indigenous populations that may come to school here and are suffer from displacement.
Jackie Chapman-Davis is Cobourg's manager of culture. She says the idea was to brighten up the pathway.
So we had the harbor banners. They've always been a traditional blue and white, but I thought a pop of color would be really cool down here. So then I got to thinking, how am I going to do that? And then I thought of working with Rick and Corinne and just all the beautiful colors and the story and all of that.
The beach draws thousands of visitors every summer.
So I feel like a lot of people will learn more to it and more knowledge and in a fun way, an opportunity, not just reading it in a book. We can walk here and we can read about it as we walk.
Beaver's works line the boardwalk of the beach. There are themes of the land, water creatures, and plants. His favorite are 2 pieces they created individually called All My Relations.
Isn't that exactly what we're talking about here, about the importance of this particular event? These are our relations out there in the waters and in the land and in the gardens and in the sky. Those are our relations.
He says the newly posted banners brings an opportunity to share First Nation culture. Smoke considers it an act of reconciliation.
and hopefully they look up the artwork and the descriptions online, and are more interested in getting to know us as Anishinaabe people, as a community just 20 minutes north of here, more than just gas stations and dispensaries and cigarettes.
According to Chapman Davis, the banner should last about 3 years. They'll be taken down in November for the winter. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Cobourg, Ontario.
The 2024 Canadian Screen Awards will be handed out next week, and the Crave APTN limited series Little Bird garnered more nominations than any other film or television series. The show is nominated in 19 categories, including Darla Contois' nomination for Best Lead Performer in a Drama Series. Contois is our guest tonight on an encore presentation of Face to Face, where she explains how she landed the role.
I was actually considering leaving the business, and I told myself that this was the last audition I was ever going to do, and I was going to leave it all behind. I was going to put the career to bed. I was done. And they kept asking me for more auditions, but they were waiting like 3 to 10 weeks between letting me know that I actually had another audition. So every time it happened, I was like, okay, I didn't get it, whatever. And I kept getting more auditions, and then eventually I got a call from Jennifer Podemski at like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, oh my God, she's calling me. Jennifer Podemski is calling me on the phone right now. And she told me I got the role, and I cried. I didn't really know how to process that moment.
You can catch our conversation with Darla Contois in less than 2 minutes from now. That is all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Tuesday. For news anytime, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. That's where you'll find our story on the attack on serial killer Robert Pickton and the reaction from the families of his victims. And don't forget to join Creason here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for your daytime APTN National News. I'm Dennis Ward. Marcy McGuitch, thanks for being with us. Have a great night.